Literally everyone wants to get their chess rating as high as possible, but I want to get my rating as low as possible. But I'm only doing this for one reason. This achievement someone sent me on Discord, which you can only get by getting a checkmate with every piece at a rating of 100. I need to know if this is actually real, and if it is, I need to get it, or this guy said he'll unsubscribe. And this opponent right here is the first person we're going to be playing at the 100 ELO level. Alright, let's see how 100 ELO people actually play. If we win to get 61 points, that is way too much. Now, surprisingly, my first opponent was actually not bad at chess, and was playing his opening pretty much perfectly. So far, I'm pretty sure this guy's made like 0 blunders. I mean, he's playing super well for being 100 ELO. As I was playing this game, I actually thought this guy might be hacking until he did this. Okay, as soon as I said he was playing super well, he moved here, which blunders his queen in just one move. But I still had to focus on the reason I was even playing these low-rated people, which was to get checkmates. But okay, let's focus on getting the checkmates we need. So let's keep this knight alive and see if we get a knight checkmate at least. I felt very confident in my abilities to get all of these checkmates, because I knew at this low rating level I could easily get into winning positions, and people almost never resigned here. That's what I thought at least, but later on you'll see how difficult this actually became. Right now though, I was formulating some high IQ strategies. Okay, this is my plan. We're gonna go queen h5, boom. He has to move his king back here. Knight's gonna come in here, then scoot to this square. His king will be trapped because my queen will be covering the h file. Everything was going perfectly to plan, and a checkmate would be super easy here, as long as my opponent didn't resign or anything like that. I figured that I needed an actual plan to get a checkmate, so for this next game, I moved out all of my pieces very early and started playing super aggressively. Okay, I'm gonna try to get my queen on this diagonal here, boom. And then take this pawn. And this plan was actually working. Okay, we're gonna take here anyway, allowing me to absolutely destroy my opponent's king's position and force the enemy king way out into the open. He obviously can't go back, so he has to bring his king out. There we go, wait. And now I just had to get a checkmate, but this was the easy part. Here, 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 check, here, here. And is that checkmate? That looks like checkmate. He has to go here and then checkmate. And it's a pawn checkmate this early in the challenge. That was just one of the 6 pieces we needed, but some of the other ones would prove to be much more difficult. But for right now, I was focused on getting an easier one, the queen checkmate, which should have been the easiest. And now we have checkmate in one threat, as well as we can take this pawn. But these players seem determined to rage bait me. Oh my days, he resigned. Since every player was resigning or just not playing at all, I decided to try the Scholar's Mate to win the game as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, it seems that these low-rated people have evolved and now they know how to defend against it. Since that didn't work, I kind of just threw all of my pieces at my opponent's king, and somehow this was working, giving me a lot of attacking ideas. I'm just gonna go here, maybe bring the rook in, maybe sacrifice it, maybe bring the knight in and attack this square, who knows. But since I knew that this guy would resign if I started winning, I had to purposely play worse so that I could get a checkmate. Interesting, so he's gonna blunder that. I do not want to take that because that'll probably make him resign, therefore... So I just kept bringing in more pieces into my attacks, and slowly but surely I was getting closer to a checkmate. This was slow though, and even though I was super close, my opponent was getting dangerously low on time. Blunders his queen, very nice. He's low on time though, he's low on time. Let's bring a knight in, maybe we could get a checkmate. Yes, okay. That was another piece down, which meant next up was the bishop checkmate, and these 100 ELO players were really making things interesting with their choices in moves. What? What is that move? Oh my days. And if you don't want to blunder your queen like this guy, you need to check out the sponsor of this video, chessreps.com. But more about that later, because even though I was comfortably winning, for some reason these players like to play at 0 miles an hour, and their time would just make them lose before I could even get a checkmate. Yeah, he's gonna run out of time. We were so close, like, look at this. Here, if he just moved his knight, we have a rook here, and he probably would have blundered that, to be honest. For some reason, these 100 ELO players just loved giving up on life right when they started losing. He just left the game. In my next game though, I thought this was the one, since I was up 8 points of material in the first 9 moves of the game. There's a lot of potential here. And then my opponent decided to do this. Oh, that's a queen checkmate. We don't want a queen checkmate. Not only did he blunder mate in 1, but he left that checkmate hanging for the next 2 moves, and then he ran out of time. Playing normally was definitely not an option anymore, because then my opponent would just run out of time. Instead, I was going to be playing way more aggressively so that I can get an early game checkmate. And it started with me sacrificing my knight here. Now that my opponent's king was way out in the open, I could use this pin with my rook to get some checkmate possibilities. Go this one, now we're attacking this, so we might get some interesting tactics here. Okay. I just needed to get this enemy king on this diagonal, move this pawn, and my bishop could deliver a checkmate. And to do this, I had an idea. Now he has to go here, or block his rook. Now we're gonna go here, blunder our queen. Actually, this is tactical sacrifice because we have this. Boom. Threaten checkmate in 1, he has to block with his rook, we're gonna retake, it's checkmate. His only move is to block, we can just pre-move take that. Bishop checkmate, that has to be a brilliancy. Yes sir, Baguette dealer gets a brilliancy. That's pretty cool. Just like chessreps.com, where you can literally learn any opening you want with a bunch of cool tools that help you actually remember what moves to play. I've said this before, but this website makes learning chess openings actually fun, and every single opening I've learned from their website has allowed me to beat players far higher rated than me in just the beginning of games. So if you want to improve your chess openings or just get better at chess in general, you have to check out chessreps.com. But back to the video, because next up was a knight checkmate. Let's try for a pawn checkmate in bullet. So I may have forgotten that I already got the pawn checkmate at the start of the video, and I may have wasted many minutes of my life accomplishing absolutely nothing, but we don't talk about that. Anyways, for the knight checkmate I had to plan. But first, this opponent played an opening I had legitimately never seen before. This opening is called Beginner's Mistake? What is even going on in this world? And then I blessed my opponent with some encouraging words. Okay, this guy's terrible at this game, which means we probably can get a knight checkmate. But my plan was to use the same strategy I had used to get the pawn checkmate earlier. Lure the king out into the center of the board, surround him with pieces so that he couldn't escape, maybe waterboard him, and then violently violate him with my knight. And this plan was going super well. I was winning, the king was in the center of the board, nobody had figured out where I was on September 11th, 2001, and I was cooking up some high IQ plans. Let's take here, it's not checkmate because he has this, and we're gonna go here to block him off, so he has to go back. Then bring our knights in. Wait, is that checkmate? Boom, he has to go back or block with a pawn. If he blocks with a pawn, not ideal. Then here. Yes! Oh, I didn't know that was checkmate. Okay, hallelujah. And now there are only 2 checkmates and a few 100 ELO opponents between me and the secret achievement. But for the rook checkmate, I came up with an actually good plan, which means we want to trade off everything as soon as possible to get into an endgame. If I were to get into an endgame with my rook and a few pawns, I was confident I could get an easy checkmate. And since this was also a rapid game, there was an upside. And since it's a 10-minute game, we have plenty of time. We don't have to worry about our opponent running out of time, hopefully. And with this plan, everything was going amazingly until my opponent did something that scared me. He blunders the queen. We're not going to take... I don't know. Should we take it? We'll take it. I'm just going to hope that he doesn't resign. Okay, he doesn't. A few moves later, I ended up trading off my queen for my opponent's bishop just so that he would think he had a chance to win. And after that, I traded off everything else and was in a perfect endgame. All I had to do now was wait and hope for the best. Now, as long as he doesn't resign, this is an easy win. And checkmate. That was very long for an easy checkmate, but whatever, we get killer rook. So now we have every single piece except the killer king. So that might be a little bit more difficult. And while I try and get this final checkmate, let me explain to you how to actually get it. First, you need 3 pieces trapping the enemy king like this. Then all you have to do is move your king, getting a discovered checkmate, and since you moved your king for checkmate, you get the killer king achievement. And so far in this game, everything was going well. Alright, we're already winning by a grand amount. We just gotta get rid of all of these pieces on the board so it's much easier. Now I just needed to trade off everything, but I needed another piece. So we need 3 long-range pieces, so we'll probably need another rook. And this was also very easy, but here's where the real challenge began because my opponent was now dangerously low on time and wasn't in a big hurry to be checkmated. Just move, please, stop wasting time. Okay, let's get these rooks on the diagonals. We need 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. This low time situation was stressing me out quite a lot. I need it here. Come on, you have 1 move, just move there. And with less than 10 seconds on the clock, my opponent decides to... You have 1 move, what? Resign, causing me level 100 depression. And I know it seems like not a lot of time has passed in this video, but I had been playing chess almost all day, trying to get these checkmates, and this game actually made me rage quit for a few hours. But eventually I came back, and I think you can tell I wasn't having the greatest time of my life, but I needed this checkmate and I needed this achievement, so I had no choice. So far though in this game, everything was going to plan. The only issue was, I had 2 rooks instead of 3, which could work, but would be much harder. I was also losing, until my opponent blundered his knight, and now we were winning. To be honest, I didn't really care if I was winning or losing, because I knew this opponent would blunder checkmate regardless, but again, his time was worrying me, and I was panicking. Here, 1 move, please. I even thought I was in the perfect position to move my king here and deliver a checkmate in 1. But I forgot that my opponent could block with his rook, and if I took with my rook, it would be checkmate, but it would not be a king checkmate. No, we can block. So now I had 30 seconds to get rid of my opponent's rook while keeping both of my rooks alive and making sure my opponent didn't promote any of his pawns. On paper, this should be impossible, but I needed this. My mama was kind of homeless, but I was able to capture one of his pawns, and then for some reason my opponent played rook c2, giving me this delectable move. Perfect. But I had used a lot of time. I now had 10 seconds to get the king checkmate, and I was stressed out. Please, please don't run out of time. Move! Please move, please. Yes! Oh my gosh, look at his time! Oh my days. Okay, I moved king for checkmate, please count. Yes, killer, it's not loading. There it is. And just like that, I had seen what it was like to play at the 100 ELO level and gotten a checkmate with every single piece at this level. But it turns out this achievement was fake. So